talk a few minutes about the different types of errors that we make. And the different types of errors that we make depend on the mode that we're thinking in, or not thinking in sometimes, that our brain is in when we're performing. So there's 3 different types of performance. We have skill-based performance, rule-based performance, and knowledge-based performance. And we're going to talk about each of these a little bit more in depth. So we're going to start with skill-based errors, or our skill-based mode. What is skill-based mode? This is when our brain is, we have done something so many times we don't even think about it. We're on autopilot. You get into a car, you don't think about starting it, you don't think about when you get to the stop sign that you think, okay, stop sign, I have to put my foot on the brake. You don't think about the blinker light when you're turning left versus turning right and which way you do it. Just happens automatically. Sometimes you might even get halfway down the road and think, I don't even know what just happened in the last little bit. Has that ever happened to anybody? We're really reliable, actually, when we're in this mode. We only make an error about 3 times in 1,000 acts. So we're really pretty reliable. We're good at this. But we do still make some errors. We make slips, lapses, and fumbles. So a slip is without intending to, we do the wrong thing. A lapse is without intending to, we fail to do what we meant to do. And a fumble is exactly what it sounds like in football, is a gross motor skill that we failed to do. Without intending to, we failed to perform a routine manual function. So a couple of examples. Get up in the morning, tired, not really thinking, I want to make a bowl of cereal. I get my bowl, I pour the cereal in, go to the refrigerator, I grab the orange juice, and I pour the orange juice on my cereal. That would be a slip. I didn't mean to put the orange juice there, I meant to put milk there. So I throw that all away, I get my new bowl, I get my milk, I pour the milk on the cereal, I eat my cereal, but I leave the milk out on the counter and forget to put it away, and I leave it there all day until I get back late at night, and now I have spoiled milk. So I performed a lapse. I did not put the milk back in. So then I realized that I have spoiled milk, so I want to take it and dump it in the sink, and on the way there I trip and fall and I spill it all over the floor. That would be a fumble. So to prevent these, we're going to talk more about these, we self-check, cross-check, and we visualize what we're going to do. The next mode that we can be in is rule-based mode. So here we choose how to respond to a situation using a rule that we were taught or learned through experience. So this is an if-then, do-this type of environment. We're still pretty good in this mode too. We make an error about 1 in 100 chances, so not too bad. But we still make errors. We can use the wrong rule, so we can either be taught or learn the rule wrong for that response in that situation. We can misapply the rule where we knew the right response, but for whatever reason at that moment we were confused and choose the wrong rule. Or we can choose not to follow the rule. And we usually do that, this is like our shortcut. We thought for whatever reason in that moment that it was better to not follow the rule. Doing the other thing for whatever reason was the better choice at that time. So some examples of this, using the wrong rule. The 6-year-old who's going to their first baseball game, and the coach has taught them a certain series of signals are what he needs to do to bunt. But he sees them wrong and doesn't bunt when he's supposed to. He learned the wrong rule. Misapplied rule, I'm making bacon and suddenly a grease fire breaks out and I reach for water and put the water on the fire. Normally the right response to a fire is to put water on it, but a grease fire is not. I got confused in that moment, so I misapplied the rule. And then choosing not to follow the rule again is like our shortcut. So that might be choosing to speed because you feel like you need to get to the hospital faster, but then you're at risk for getting into an accident or getting stopped to get a ticket. So the way we prevent these is having a questioning attitude and intelligent compliance, which refers to pointing out what the consequences of doing the shortcut might be. And then the third mode that we can be in is knowledge-based mode. And this is where we have no previous skill, we have no rules to sort of guide us. We're kind of having to figure out the answer some other way. So we do this either by using what we know to sort of figure it out, taking a guess, or by trial and error. And sometimes a lot of times we come up with the wrong answer. And we're not very good in this mode. We make errors about 30 times in 100 chances here. And the way we prevent this is to stop when we're unsure and consult with an expert. This is an example of somebody in knowledge-based mode. He has absolutely no idea what he is holding in his hands or how to use those things. So he is definitely about to make a knowledge-based.
I did have the hammer in the right direction, though.
Right. And he's wearing safety glasses. So let's think for a minute about a couple of what-ifs. What if We could significantly reduce our errors. What if there were more tools and fewer rules? We didn't have to fumble through a whole bunch of policies. What if we came to work knowing exactly what was expected of us? And what if we felt empowered to fix a problem or voice a concern related to safety? And what if we could leave work feeling absolutely confident that we delivered the best care or services to our patients as possible? What this is getting at is our culture. 2014, Valley View did their Culture of Safety survey, and it's a little concerning that in the hospital, 34% of people who responded are uncomfortable speaking up if they see something that's unsafe. And in the clinics, it's not much better, it's 27%. So this speaks to our culture. So what is culture? Culture are shared beliefs of individuals in a group or organization, and our shared values and beliefs influence our behaviors, and our behaviors influence the outcome. Culture is really getting at what we do when nobody's looking. And we can talk the talk, but if we don't walk the walk, that's speaking to our culture. We can talk about safety, but we're really not ingraining that into what we do all the time. If it's not our underpinning, like this big iceberg, what we don't see, then it's really, safety is not our culture. They did a study in the fast food industry, and they put a camera in the bathroom to see how often people washed their hands who worked in the fast food place. And when they knew that they were being watched, they washed their hands 99% of the time. When they didn't know that they were being watched, it was 60%. What does that say about our culture? What does it say about our culture at 3 a.m. if we have a nurse way on one side and she only has one patient down there and all the other patients are on the other side of the whole floor, and that's where all the other nurses are. She needs to stop and do a double check before she gives a medication. Does she stop and do the double check? Find somebody even though it takes a lot more time? Or does she not? What about the lab specimen? We're supposed to label that before we leave the room. But we've got all this stuff and it's hard and you might fumble and that type of thing. Do we do that, or do we take it to where it could get mixed up with somebody else's and then label it? We need to think about what our culture is.